A new era in sim racing broadcast always begins with a vision. Hello and welcome to Grid Vision's debut broadcast of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series from the virtual Nashville Superspeedway in Lebanon, Tennessee. Of course, my name is Brian Britt, and I'm joined in the booth by Marty Zakala. Definitely appreciate you joining us here tonight, Marty. Of course, Austin Derbyshire down behind the cameras here for our debut broadcast with Grid Vision. And we sure are happy to be here with the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Of course, these guys are definitely getting closer and closer to wrapping up their season. After this race, only one race left to go, and I do believe they're going to be visiting Las Vegas Motor Speedway. But before we can get there, we got to tackle this interesting track. Of course, I think it's almost a little bit of a misnomer to say that this is a super speedway, Marty. I think we talked about that a little bit before the broadcast began. But how are you doing tonight?
We're doing well. Glad to be a part of history here on Grid Vision this evening. Should be in for a fun run in Nashville Super Speedway. Yes, it has the look, it has the length of an intermediate racetrack. It has the feeling a little bit like a short track too. Not that much banking at Nashville Super Speedway, so this will pretty much be primarily a one groove racetrack. But it's all about saving tires at the same time, and that's what the drivers will be looking to do in these next 75 laps.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing, of course, like you just mentioned, 75 laps on the docket here tonight. Quite a short race, I'd say. But then again, the lap times around Nashville Superspeedway are about what you'd expect at more of a mile and a half. Around a 30-second lap is what I think we should expect. I do want to talk a little bit about the points coming in here to tonight's race. Of course, Robbie Keneally has been the dominant driver all season long. He has won it seems like every style of racetrack that these guys have went to so far. Of course, he's gotten 6 wins. Average start is second place. Average finish first. I mean, I don't think anybody else can say that, really. Of course, he's at the top of the board with 299 points. Craig Janzak, though, sits in second place with 1 win. He's 277, so not that far back from Mr. Keneally. Of course, Robert Lawrence sits in third. Justin Prince is in fourth. Jason Taylor is fifth. Brian Lorenzo sits sixth in the points. James Harris is tied for sixth with Mr. Lorenzo. Of course, eighth place is Brad Thacker, ninth George Young, and rounding out our top 10 in points is William Mann Jr. You mentioned it. This is going to be definitely a place where tire saving is going to be a key factor, I do believe. Even though this is a short race, 75 laps, these guys only do have, I do believe, 3 sets of tires, 2 actually down in the pits. Fuel, I don't think that's going to be the main thing on these guys' minds tonight, Marty. Even though 63 laps is the estimated fuel run, I think tires is going to be what's going to be the main draw to take them down pit road.
Yeah, tires will be the main draw. I don't think we're going to see any green flag pit stops in this one with the way Nashville Super Speedway is. If we get a yellow at around lap 20, lap 25, lap 30 onwards, before we hit lap 60 or so, everyone's coming in for fuel and 4 tires.
100%. I do want to, of course, mention something about Grid Vision just because we're just getting started here with our kind of infancy here. But I want to, kick it out to everybody out there. Want to kick off a career in broadcasting, maybe production. Maybe you have an interest in video production, commentary, set design, or any other assets that could be valuable to a growing team. Contact us on Facebook or Twitter at Grid Vision. We definitely appreciate it for sure. Definitely appreciate everybody out there tuning in as well. Of course, we're going to try to deliver as best we can, all the action here tonight at Nashville Superspeedway, but I do believe the qualifying is starting to wrap up, and we will have the grid here momentarily. Of course, just only 4 seconds remaining here. It looks like we have about, I do believe, 17 drivers. Actually, no, 16 drivers going to be making the grid. Some new names out there as well. James Ifa, never seen that name here in this series before, but it looks like we do have the grid set for this evening's act. Of course, Robert Lawrence going to be starting up on the pole position with Craig Ganzak going to be qualified in that second place position. Of course, Kyle Holden, he has had a fantastic last couple races, had a really strong finish there last week at Rockingham. He starts third. James Harris, of course, was the runner-up last season for the championship with Craig Ganzak. He starts fourth. Justin Prince, another great driver from him last week, I should say. Brendan Ball in sixth place. Stephen Gibson seventh. Brian Lorenzo in eighth. George Young in ninth. And, of course, rounding out our top 10 is Stephen Shepard.
William Mann Jr. starts in 11th. Johnny Evans rounds out the 6th row. Row number 7 is John Lucido next to Caleb Forsyth. Row number 8 is Robbie Keneally and James Efaw. Eli Childs rounding out the field this evening.
Now, I do want to make a quick correction here. Eli Childs is actually race control, so will not, I do believe, making the actual grid here tonight. So he's going to be taking up the tough task of keeping an eye on these guys. And I'll tell you, these guys do kind of get wild and crazy sometimes. But some of the best drivers for these trucks on iRacing are here. And, of course, we do have the late entry of Robbie Keneally, was not able to set a qualifying time. That's going to be kind of interesting, Marty. I mean, we know he has been so dominant all season long, but most of the time we see him start up front. This is going to be difficult, especially at a track. You mentioned it before, a one-groove track.
And I've watched Robbie Keneally race in the past. He's pretty good at tracks that are that feel like a short track. Expect him to charge his way throughout the field, nearly a 6,000 I rating. When the best I think the best I rating of anyone in this field, so that's why he's got the 15th starting spot, the highest amongst the drivers that did not take time in qualifying.
Yeah, and of course he actually has a lot of real-world experience as well, which I think really translates to the style of tracks that I say predominantly this series goes to. We've seen a lot of short tracks on the schedule for sure, and I think that fits the mold there for him. I do want to give a shout-out to one of the sponsors here for this series, Champion Power Equipment. Of course, looking for reliable and high-performance power equipment to help you tackle any job, look no further than Champion Power Equipment. Whether you need a portable generator, pressure washer, or any other power tool, Champion has you covered with top-of-the-line quality products at affordable prices. And as a proud sponsor of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series, we're excited to bring you even more power and performance on and off the track. Visit championpowerequipment.com today to learn more. As we are rolling here, pace car lights are out. I do believe we should be getting set to go green this time by. I know usually short track rules you go an extra lap. This is not technically a short track. 1.33 miles here, so a very interesting track indeed.
Yeah, it's a fun one always. This track is all concrete on the track. Anywhere else you go is pavement. So we'll be in for a treat. Makes you think, take it like it's Dover, but a short track.
Yeah, of course, it has a lot of the short track qualities. You're going to definitely find yourself getting on the brake and having to let the truck roll the center more, that's for sure. As we get the green flag for the first time here this evening, of course, if you'd like to have your business or sponsored for that green flag, we are definitely have openings there for sure. As we see side by side for the lead already, looks like Robert Lawrence so far in the lead, but here comes Craig Ganzak to the top. Going to try to see if he can't get something done. But it looks like I don't think it's going to work here. Robert Lawrence has the advantage, but here comes Janczak to the inside for the lead.
A lot of drivers sideways off at turn 2 because of the cold tires. Got to be very careful getting off the gas off turn 2. Give these trucks a lap and a half to get the tire pressures up to temp, and then you'll be good to go. Janczak couldn't make the pass. He's dealing with Harris for second.
Yeah, James Harris trying to make something happen on the top, though. It looks like he's not quite able to get there, but it looks like he gets a little bit of a lower exit. A lot of drivers trying to see, I think, maybe getting a diamond line at this racetrack, and it looks like Harris does go to the inside of Ganzak. He gets the pass completed. He's now up to second, all the way up to the back bumper of Robert Lawrence. And look at Justin Prince on the inside of Craig Ganzak.
Commentator turned driver in this series. I've never seen Justin Prince drive, so I'm looking forward to seeing how the driver of the 34 does. Just posted the quickest lap of this race so far, 30:54, and looks for P2 on Lorenz. And that's what I was talking about heading into this race. One groove track. That middle groove can pretty much be a risk taker. It's no man's land, I would say it. There goes Prince for the lead.
Yeah, Prince looking really strong right now. I do want to mention a little bit of an update. Robbie Keneally not making the grid, so this is going to be a big opportunity for someone like Craig Ganzak to get the points he desperately needs in order to maybe be able to still be in the fight for that championship next week at Las Vegas. Prince still battling side by side with Harris for the lead. Of course, Robert Lawrence has fallen back now to third place as we see a lot. I think this is a track where, like you said, it's kind of single file, and the more you stay side by side, the more those other guys behind are going to start to catch up as we see kind of a gaggle of cars there around Kyle Holden.
Yeah, there's another race for 8th position, Brandon Ball and Brian Lorenzo, and they've been just about side by side for the past 3-5 laps or so, I would say. But you're right, to quote you, it is a gaggle of cars. Behind Craig Janczak, Kyle Holden and Steven Gibson, they're battling for the final spot in the top 5. And this is the preferred line for Gibson at the moment.
Yeah, I'm wondering how this is going to really change. And as this race goes on, we talked about how important tires are. Well, what line is the best line to run? I mean, it seems like the guy that I think is a little bit more patient and cautious is going to be the one that gets paid dividends here. As we see Gibson being held up a little bit, or I should say Steven Shepard being held up by Gibson. So battle of the Stevens right now for that, I do believe, 5th position. As Kyle Holden's up on the top, of course, looks like the top line is starting to fall back. I think that's not the line you really want to stay on.
Now, if we get into a long run, the tires start to get worn. If you're a guy that has not used his tires up a lot, if you're pretty good at conserving those tires, take a risk and go up on that second groove. Ooh, Brandon Ball creating some sparks off of turn 4. I'm looking forward to seeing this paint rub on my camera and entering turn number 1.
Man, look at that.
He cracked that wall pretty good.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage on that right side right now, and I think George Young almost followed him into it. This is a track that is very easy to follow another driver. Looks like Brian Lorenzo with some blinking issues. He's been plagued by that all season long.
And going back to Brandon Ball as well, you are right. This track wants you to get on the gas as early as possible. And when you think you're perfect, but you actually go earlier than normal when you get up in that wall. You see Ball
Prince now out to the lead. He has almost 9/10 of a second now as we see Ball battling with Brian Lorenzo right now for, I do believe, that 8th place position. But I think clean air is going to be key. Look at Prince already out to now a second. I think if you get up there in the lead when these tires are worn, you're going to find yourself pulling away.
Absolutely. And in my opinion, when you look at a track like Nashville, I believe that this is a track that you want track position. This is a qualifying track for sure, no doubt about it, because it's one groove. Not a lot of passing areas. Prince, he started in 5th. He's been using the low line from the drop the green flag. Working out his way so far.
Yeah, still battling, though, back there with, I do believe, the 77. Dropping spots left and right here. I do believe we even see the 76, Caleb Forsythe, possibly working in up there as well. So a lot of battling still going on, and we're only close to 10 laps in, and I think we've already started to see some fall off as well. Over 2/10 thus far. I think it's going to get even worse than that as we go on.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I talked about it. You really want to save some tires here for sure. As we take a look at some other racing, I believe this is the race for 10th, Caleb Forsythe and Johnny Evans. Forsythe started from the rear of the field in 14th. He's made his way up 4 spots into 10th. And we'll see how he does with couple of car lengths behind Brandon Ball.
Also starting to see the battle, I do believe, for that 4th place position start to heat up as well, as we see Steven Gibson on the rear bumper there of Craig Ganzak. Also Kyle Holden maybe trying to get underneath as well.
And some near blocking by Gibson on Holden. I think Holden may have let off the gas just barely for a second, despite them being obviously Team Watson teammates.
100%, those guys battling quite hard, even though they're teammates. But I think what's really happening here is that Gibson's being held up a little bit by Ganzak, and that is causing them to come, to have to battle each other there.
I think Holden's just trying to convince Gibson, hey, it's time to go to work. Let's find a way past Craig Ganzak. Ganzak's been fading a bunch. He started in the 2nd position, and right now he's running 4th position. I would have thought he'd be in like top 2 or top 3 at the moment.
Yeah, of course, he actually is the reigning champion as well. Last season, he was just a dominator, and this season is just not looked the same. I'm hoping that he's going to be able to get that turnaround he needs. Of course, he has not done terribly this season, though. I mean, he's still 2nd in the points, not separated by that much to Robbie Keneally. So this has got to be that kick in the rear he needs in this race. He needs to get a good finish in order to take advantage of Keneally not being here.
He really does, without question. I think a lot of drivers are going to try and use this to their advantage. Craig Ganzak will be. I don't see Tyler Meeks in the field. Neither do I see Kyle Myers. Robert Lorenz, obviously, is going to be a big factor in this race. And he's currently a spot ahead of Craig Ganzak. So I think if Ganzak gets ahead of Lorenz, I think he's in a pretty good, comfortable spot.
100%. Here we go. We got some more battling going on. Brian Lorenzo, I do believe. Brian Lorenzo looks like he's trying to maybe do some work on Steven Shepard. These guys have been battling sort of all race long as Lorenzo goes to the inside. As these tires start to wear, it's going to get more and more difficult to pass. You can even look at the right side of Lorenzo right now. He's already got some right side damage on that 77.
Yeah, he does. And I think this is all from the same thing that we've been looking at throughout this race. Getting up in the wall off turn 4 comes at you and bites you instantly. But it's not really a highly aero-dependent racetrack, I would say the least. This is really a track all about saving your tires.
It really is. We talked about it a little bit earlier, how you kind of want to roll the center. A lot of drivers don't really know how to do that quite so much. You're either off the gas and on the brake, or you're on the gas. I mean, it's one of those things that a lot of drivers kind of look at that. Lorenzo does get the pass secured, but because he was battling so much, that brought the 76 of Forsyth into the picture.
A huge swing of momentum, that's for sure. When you're battling, you're losing a lot of momentum. Forsyth currently your biggest mover. He's at 5 spots from the drop of the green flag. If he gets past Shepard, this is 6th. Shepard could be a contender for a top 5. It would not surprise me one bit. Or, I'm sorry, Forsyth.
Yeah, he's definitely been one of the bigger movers, and he's probably been trying to save the tires as best he can. While we have a little bit of a lull here in the action, I do want to talk a little bit about another partner here with Champion Power Equipment, of course, Blackstone Management. Blackstone Management Partners guarantees an unrivaled one-on-one approach to every client, providing them with solutions and services required to keep their dynamic brands thriving and one step ahead of the ever-changing consumer marketplace. Blackstone comprises expertise in marketing, communication, talent management, and event management. Working with their clients, they not only use traditional but state-of-the-art platforms, including mobile marketing, investigative marketing, and cause-driven marketing. Visit them at bsmpartners.com. As we see, of course, Forsyth now up all over the bumper of the 13 is Steven Shepard. He's definitely got a lot of momentum, and I think he's looking to put it out here.
Yeah, Shepard started in the 10th position, currently up 2 spots in 8th. It's going to be interesting to see if Forsyth goes down to the inside to make a pass, because if not, they could all potentially gang up on Brian Lorenzo, who we know obviously has a bunch of damage.
And fall-off has gotten even more and more significant. Of course, looking at even the front, Justin Prince, who is running the fastest laps on the racetrack at the moment. Actually, Grant Genzak is. So it's like he's been saving the tires. But looking at lap times difference from the best laps, of course, most of these drivers started out with 30.5 or somewhere in that area. Now they're hitting 31, almost mid-31 second laps, which is almost a second of fall-off that we're seeing. And we're only 20 laps into the show right now.
And that's what this concrete track will do to you. And I don't even think it's been reconfigured. I don't even think there's been a new layer of concrete put on this racetrack since I first started watching NASCAR at Nashville Superspeedway. These are back during the standalone races in the Xfinity Series, then Busch Series. So that's normal at this track. I've been noticing, too, the lead for Justin Prince has slightly gone down just a bit. It was at 2 seconds at one point. James Harris cut it down to 1.8 last lap.
100%. I do want to take a look back here deep in the field around where George Young, Steven Shepard, John Lucido, all these drivers are all up on top of each other. This is a huge gaggle of race cars right now. This could be where we possibly see a caution come into play, and this is also possibly even going to put these guys into the danger zone of possibly even maybe going a lap down as we see Brandon Ball getting incredibly close, I do believe, to that's William Mann Jr. there. These guys are getting really close to each other. Tires are wearing, so they're not able to. Oh, look at that. Almost some contact there. I do believe that is the 2 of James Afon. That is actually Johnny Evans right near each other there.
Yeah, the 2 final drivers on the racetrack at the moment. I know you don't want to be finishing last. If you finish in last, it's kind of like in a fantasy football league. The last place driver has to do something for fun. I don't know if they have that here.
Yeah, that would definitely be something there for sure. You got to run around with your shirt off or something like that.
Yes.
Definitely. This battling back here, these guys are battling like almost like they're looking for the race win, but they're way back here in the back. But, of course, you're trying to get as many positions as you can. I mean, even if you don't have a chance for a championship, every position matters, I'd say. And look at this. I mean, Lucido trying to pass Forsyth. Of course, Forsyth was one of the big movers. It's like he's trending in the wrong direction now. Also, side-by-side, William Mann Jr. and Steven Shepard. course, this is, I do believe, on the edge of the top 10. These guys are battling so hard right now. And even a little bit further back up, I do believe we see Stephen Gibson and Kyle Holden battling for the 5th spot.
Just saw as well, I believe it was Lorenzo. If not, it was George Young in the 48. Just about scraped the wall going down the back straight, entering turn number 3. Man, we've seen Darlington stripes. That's normal. I don't think I've seen a lot of wall scrapes like I've seen here in Nashville. So we may have to call them Nashville stripes.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean, this place is quite difficult. I mean, this is not an easy track, and that's why I was kind of curious of why they call it a super speedway, because it does not have anything, I think, any features of what you would consider to be a super speedway. But these guys are definitely putting on quite the show. Of course, Kyle Holden has made it by Stephen Gibson, and now that he has gotten by him, he's starting to pull away. But Justin Prince, we talked about going back up to the front, how his 2-second lead had fallen. Looks like he's trending back in the right direction again. But if you look at Robert Lawrence, though, he's hitting 31.5s. He's the fastest car on the racetrack right now. And that's not surprising me at all, Marty. I mean, he's been one of the guys that has been really showing a lot of momentum here towards the late season. I feel like something in that 5 machine, or in that 5 team, they have really started to figure something out with these trucks and these fix setups.
In past champion races that I've called, he's been known for saving tires pretty well in the past. But with Lorenz catching up to Harris, this could be something that works out for Justin Prince. However, I see that lead still going down for JP.
Yeah, I think he goes from being a little bit quicker to not being so much. Of course, we're closing in on lap 30 here in just a couple laps, and you mentioned that you don't think we're going to see green flag pit stops. Well,
we are seeing it right now, though.
I think we might have to see them. Yeah.
Yeah, and Caleb Forsythe and Brandon Ball are trying to split the strategy and short pit this one. The window's open. They're going to try and go for fresh tires, and they want to try and have horsepower beat out pitting later.
Well, my question is, though, or my thought here is, if you're having issues this early, taking tires now is not going to really help you. I mean, because you're going to have those issues again at some point, unless you're thinking about maybe splitting it into, maybe thirds.
But here's the thing that Forsythe and Ball, there is a huge risk they take in this situation. Because the lap times we see, about 30-second lap times or so, they're 1.5 laps behind the race leader. If a yellow flag comes out, they could be in trouble unless they get a wave around.
Yeah, 100%. They are definitely a lap down now. But, I mean, the lap times they're going to be hitting are going to be probably about 1.5 seconds faster than everybody else. So if they can somehow save the tire while, utilizing these fresh tires, then possibly they could find themselves getting that lap back for sure, especially because everybody else is going to have to pit anyway. But it's going to be a difficult strategy call, because I know usually at these kind of tracks, at tracks that feature heavy tire wear, I'd say the overcut's way better than the undercut.
Absolutely. I like the overcut here in Nashville. You really want the fresh tires. But, well, actually, now that we say that, Brandon Ball just ran the quickest lap of the race. Same with Caleb Forsythe, both 30:48. So we'll see. But I do agree for sure fresh tires is the way to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, they actually ran the exact same lap time, which is kind of interesting to see. Both 30.482. But my thought, this is that type of track that you don't want to turn the fastest lap. I wouldn't want to. Just considering, I mean, you're going to pay for that later. All the time you're gaining now, you're going to pay for that, and you end up paying for that later, I do believe. Lead, though, from Justin Prince to James Harris has been steadily decreasing, though. Now 1.2, 1.3 seconds in between those two drivers. Of course, Robert Lawrence still catching up to James Harris as well. And I think this is what is pushing James Harris to try to get closer and closer to Justin Prince, because he's got a hungry 5-car behind him. Now, of course, I do believe Robert Lawrence started on the pole in this race.
Yes, Lawrence did start in P1. Harris started from the 4th position. But I wonder if you're James Harris, noticing the gap that Lawrence has closed in, I wonder if this is making him pick up the pace.
Yeah, and that could definitely be detrimental to him as well, because he could burn up more tire as he gets closer and closer. We'll have to wait and see how this kind of all plays out. Well, what a race we've seen thus far. A caution is out on the speedway.
And this is for James Efa. He just went off track, coming off at turn 4, and that is not what Forsythe and Ball wanted.
And look at that. I love that. I race high, wide, and handsome. Well, I'm wondering if he raced high. I think he probably got hit into that wall, so that might not necessarily be a
Looking
good
at,
thing. Let's see exactly what happened here.
yeah, taking a look off at turn number 4. There was a huge head of steam coming from the fresh tires of Caleb Forsyth. Efa just did not see him coming. Not clear, gets turned.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Forsyth going to pick up quite a bit of damage here. This is going to be an opportunity for everybody to come down pit road, but it's also going to possibly lock down Forsyth the lap down, just considering he did get into that, get some damage out of that.
And I believe this will help out Justin Prince big time, too, as, we're near the halfway part of the race, and he was starting to lose a little bit of time.
Uh-oh.
I think this caution is going to be what he needed as you ride on board with Forsyth.
Yeah, quite an accident there. Looks like a lot of drivers coming down pit road. Looks like James Efa is going to be staying out here. Of course, because he was the cause or was involved in the caution. I shouldn't say cause of the caution, but because he was involved, he will not get the lucky dog. So I think he is going to go for broke here and stay out. But everybody else coming down pit road, with that, I think now's the perfect time. Maybe we can take a quick step away. Or do we have any sponsors here? I know we just kind of started out here. Oh, well, we'll do some ad reads here. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, yeah, let's take a quick commercial break.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Grid Vision. We have definitely had a fantastic race here at Nashville Superspeedway. Of course, we saw the race off of pit road there with the side-by-side. Justin Prince, of course, winning the race off pit road. James Harris comes out in second. Craig Ganzak gained a spot there over Robert Lawrence. Of course, Stephen Gibson able to get one over on Kyle Holden, who falls all the way back to seventh. Brian Lorenzo up to sixth here. As the pace car lights have gone out, we're getting set to go back green here, and I do believe we are crossing the halfway point as well. Everybody will be able to make it to the end of the race here. So this is all going to be about, I do believe, tire saving. Of course, we saw at about that 30-lap run, a lot of these drivers are starting to struggle, Marty.
Absolutely. Justin Prince selects the inside line. I think this restart's going to help him out because he loves fresh tires. He'll pull away with them for sure. But we saw as it got slicker, Harris and Jansak started to close in just a bit. I wonder if this yellow is going to help him a lot.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to wait and see how this all plays out. Of course, Robert Lawrence was another one that was really incredibly fast on the long run, but it seems like it's so incredibly hard to pass, of course, as the tires start to wear. Tell you what, cement, not very nice on these tires, or should I say concrete. as we get ready to have that pace car take that left turn down pit road. Of course, Prince going to be in control of the field right here. And this is such a integral race here, an important race, I should say, considering next week, Las Vegas will be the final race of the season. And here we go. Getting ready to enter that Geico restart zone is Justin Prince. Does he bobble? Looks like he gets a good restart. Everybody seems like they're fairly tame here. You see Brian Lorenzo, though, with a heck of a restart.
I think as well, Harris spun the tires on that restart, loses a spot down to third position. Meanwhile, yeah, you mentioned Lorenzo nearly makes contact with Gibson Jr. for the 5th position. This is the battle down the backstretch everyone's watching.
100%. It looks like Lorenzo was all over the back bumper of the 19. And 19 gets close to the 77.
There goes Lorenzo.
Looks like the 73 of John Lucido trying to take advantage. 73 entering the top 6, I do believe, for the first time here tonight. As he sends it on the 19. Not quite able to get there. Brian Lorenzo loses a myriad of spots. 3 wide in the mid-pack here.
And that is the 73. No, excuse me, the 13 of Shepard's caught up in the middle. But what I'm also watching, too, there's a race for second. Janczak threw a nice block on Harris. Cost Harris some time as well. Nice move from the driver of the number 3, who is now 2 spots. Caution, James Efaw.
Caution flag is out once again.
I'm sorry, that was not James Efaw. This was actually for Johnny Evans. Yeah, and he lost this all by himself off turn 4. Take a look at this. And that's what cold tires do to you, getting back on the gas a little bit too early.
Whoa. Great job for James Efaw, though. We were getting ready to talk bad about him. What a move there for him to avoid the 61 there.
Now, that is a pass in the grass.
Yeah, I mean, he had to really take evasive maneuvers. Like you said, he got a little bit of the apron. And that apron is lava, of course, is very different. The banking, Brennan Ball almost got into that as well. That could have been a terrible incident there that could have took some drivers out of it. Of course, I do believe we should see someone get a wave around. Could it be Caleb Forsyth?
It could be, but you got to give credit, though, to Evans with the way he saved that car right in the midst of traffic.
Yeah, that could have been a terrible thing for sure. And, he locked down the brakes. He did what he needed to do. He didn't hit the wall, which is a very difficult thing to do at a track like this. Wondering if anybody's going to come down pit road. I don't believe so. I mean, of course, we were only able to complete just a couple laps there. But while we do have a moment, I do want to shout out another partner here with Champion Power Equipment, of course, Green Mountain Grill. We all love barbecue. I know I sure do. Green Mountain pellet grills are the top-of-the-line quality grills for all of your grilling needs. Green Mountain Grills offers the highest quality dry rubs, sauces, and pellets also, but not for the highest price. Customers enjoy the best possible grilling experience without breaking the bank. Visit either one of their 1,000 locations across the U.S. or visit them at greenmountaingrills.com for online purchases, recipes, and much, much more. Of course, Justin Prince, now your leader. We saw a big move there for Craig Ganzak to take over that second spot. Now, one thing about it, I think he's going to be at somewhat of a disadvantage, though, starting on the high side here, Marty. What do you think?
Yeah, possibly. This could be what James Harris really wants, though. Now, Robert Lorenz, remember, he was, I believe, if I recall correctly, he was on row number 2 on the outside. It could work out to his advantage if we get it a long run.
Yeah, it really depends. I mean, it seems like I think on the first lap or first couple corners, I think that top side might be the place you want to be, but you're going to want to get down, I think, as quick as you possibly can.
Oh, absolutely you do, without question.
Because, I mean, this is that type of track that, you'll get a really good run on the start, but you're going to want to get down as quick as you possibly can. So we're going to have to see, can Craig Ganzak, take advantage. I know Ganzak and Prince have had a little bit of history this season, so I'm wondering if that's going to play out here at Nashville Superspeedway. And could, someone that maybe take advantage of it, such as Robert Lawrence. I know he's been so good, like you mentioned, about saving tire. Of course, Stephen Gibson hasn't been bad here tonight either. He's actually, I do believe, gotten a number of great finishes this season as well. But here we go. I do believe pace car lights should be going out this time by We appreciate you tuning in with us at Grid Vision. Of course, make sure you like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Of course, we also have a Facebook as well. I do believe it's facebook.com/Grid Vision. Make sure you go and like us there, and definitely we appreciate it for sure. Of course, thank you for tuning in to our debut stream. Of course, tomorrow we will actually be broadcasting the Thunderclap iRacing series as well, so make sure you tune in there as well.
Yeah, I think we are looking forward to being on the call for that one. Bunch of top name stars in the series, like Ryan Truex will be there. I believe one of the McConeys too, if I recall correctly. We're in for a fun night.
100%. I always look forward to that series as well. So such talented drivers, and not taken away from this series at all. This series has a ton of talent as well. Of course, Thunderclap actually drives all three race cars. These guys they drive these trucks, and the tracks that these guys go to. I mean, last week I think they were at Rockingham. The week before that, it was North Wilkesboro. I mean, these guys are going to tracks that are quite difficult. And I definitely wouldn't want to be down there on the grid myself. I'm glad I'm up here with you, Marty.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm up here with you too. It's gonna be a wild one for sure.
This could be a big one though for Justin Prince. Imagine that if he gets him a win here tonight. I don't think he's won this season yet, but wouldn't be cool to. Or he has won, I do believe, in the Winter Classic, or actually, I say Speed Weeks when we're at Daytona. Green flag is back out in the air once again, as Justin Prince gets a heck of a launch, really leaving everybody sleeping out there. And it looks like James Harris getting really close to the back bumper there of Craig Ganzak for that second place position. Here comes Robert Lawrence up on the top side, going to see if he can't take the 55's third spot.
Yeah, shallow entry for the two entering turn one. This just helps out Robert Lawrence with a better line throughout the corner. And, trying to use the second groove to his advantage, perhaps. We'll see what happens here. Not where Lawrence wants to be off of turn four. But can he get a nice push for perhaps Stephen Gibson Jr. with the draft? Gibson Jr. says not yet. You see off of turn two as well. It's tight there. A lot of drafting. This is the closest Justin Prince has had someone in his rearview mirror off a start. Whoa. Oh my, Harris with a bump to Yantzak. He just forced him to the lead there, Brian.
Yeah, this is a track I wouldn't want to get pushed faster than I want to go into the corner. As we see Yanzak trying to see if he can't take the lead away. Prince up on the top. Feels like he's probably locked out, but he's still holding strong. It looks like Yanzak's going to get cleared for the lead. Here comes Prince with the crossover.
Nice move from Prince, but that bump to Yanzak, that was a three-car incident waiting to happen, and somehow it didn't. This is getting wild. Wildest part of the race we've seen. Gibson stuck them in on a three-wide situation. Yikes, this is crazy here, Brian.
It very much is. This could easily devolve into an accident here as we're seeing three wide on a track that I don't think we expect to see three wide at, as we see James Harris trying to possibly look in on the three machine. Of course, Prince now still working the top side. He gets close to, he's side by side with Yanzak. What a run.
Harris trying to shove Yanzak again into turn three.
What a run. Three wide there, I do believe, for that fourth place position as well, as Robert Lawrence is trying to hold off Gibson and Lucido. Lucido is putting a lot of work in to try to get in that top five.
I think, oh man, Yanzak, he's rear driving out of Harris, and Harris is stuck in the middle. Here comes Lucido three wide for third.
This is just crazy. I tell you, the first half of this race was just, they were taking it easy. They had the kid gloves on. They have taken them off now. Look at that Prince, able to take the lead back on the
look out. Gibson up in the wall. Man, I don't know how he saved it, but I think that was a dump by Lucido. I don't know. Obviously unintentional, but we got cars sideways all over the place. And James Harris with some heavy right side damage, and that 55 truck is slowed to a snail's pace. For now,
the lead though, we see fighting for that top spot. Prince and Craig Ganzak dueling it out right now.
Oh, there they go. That's Harris. Caution.
Caution is out. James Harris involved. Of course, this is a multi-layered accident that I think was waiting to happen.
Here's the pass for the lead first that Justin Prince made on Craig Yanzak. That's just some incredible defense by Justin Prince, just not to give up on the situation and keep his mind in it. There it was with Lucido, as he caught the 19 of Gibson Jr. That's a tough break for Steven in the 19. We'll show you James Harris here in just a moment.
That should be coming up here any time now. Is, of course, James Harris fighting in the top 3 all race long. And I think Brandon Ball possibly. He was 3 wide in the middle. Yep, contact there. Ball just, I don't think Ball gave him enough room. There's not a whole lot of room for 3 wide on a track like this.
Appreciate it, real life, for the new follow. Here's another look at it with Harris stuck in the middle. He's just sandwiched up there. It's just a tight squeeze like peanut butter and jelly.
That was nothing he could really do.
Absolutely. And look how close he gets to missing this. Unfortunately, some slight front end damage. And now we start to see some strategy here. And I like this call by all the drivers here, Brian, for everyone to pit. With that wild restart, they definitely used up their tires. They're going to want to get that final set with 25 to go.
Yeah, definitely. I don't blame him at all for doing that. Of course, looking back, talking a little bit more about 3 wide scenario. I mean, George Young was up on the top. I mean, he wasn't as high as I think he could have went there. And, of course, Forsythe, was on the bottom, just did not realize what was going on. And, man, what an accident that was. Of course, looks like Caleb Forsythe has decided to stay out. Interesting.
Yeah, 2 drivers stayed out. Forsythe and Johnny Evans, they pitted on lap 41, and that was under the second yellow of the day when Johnny Evans got turned around. So risky moves here. I don't know if I want to say I like the decision. I don't want to say I don't like the decision. We'll know when we get to the restart.
Yeah, we'll definitely know then. Of course, I do want to talk about one of our sponsors or supporters here for Grid Vision. Of course, Reaper Speed Lab. Want to reach the top? Reaper Speed Lab is your one-stop shop for quality setups in the oval racing scene. Established in 2020, Reaper Speed Lab's goal is to offer competitive setups for all of your oval racing needs. From the top 3 eNASCAR series to the short track competition of late models, modifieds, and legends cars, visit ReaperSpeedLab.com for more information. Reaper Speed Lab, where top split lives. And I'll tell you what, these guys have been putting on quite the show, and we know how much tires, how much they matter. I just don't know if I like this call to stay out here. This could make the chances of another caution that much more higher.
It definitely does. And now we see in this situation, we saw a lot of varying strategies here. George Young taking, I believe, was 2 tires on the 48. Craig Yansack did 4 tires. Steven Shepard in the 13. Gambling with 2 tires. Everyone else on back 4 tires. I think the 2-tire call is not bad. If you're a guy like Steven Shepard that was not in the battle for the race lead, or maybe the same with George Young, I definitely like the call to go for 2 tires. But if you're a guy like Justin Prince and company, I understand the 4-tire decision with the hard racing they were doing.
That's actually interesting, though, that they took 2 tires there. Craig Anzag, though, doing really good getting off pit road. I think he took 4. But I don't know. I mean, I think you could be right. But then again, we talked about how cold tires, how difficult it can be to control the race car, I'd say, on cold tires. Well, what if one side of your car has cold tires and the other doesn't? I mean, that can loosen up your car a lot. I mean, and that could be what you need at a track like this, though. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm curious to see what this looks like. I mean, anytime I've ever seen anybody take 2 tires in this truck, it doesn't seem to ever work out. But maybe Nashville's a different place. You never know. We'll definitely have our question answered here very shortly. Of course, the pace car lights are out. We're going to have 22 laps to go when the green flag flies once again. Of course, Caleb Forsythe, for the first time, is going to be in control of the field. Now, I'm curious, wheel spin. Concrete tracks like this, I think, is notorious for wheel spin.
Oh, yes. Absolutely it is.
Here we are on the backstretch, getting ready to enter turn number 3. Of course, Caleb Forsythe, I believe he started all the way back in 14th, now finds himself up in the lead. Can he hold on as we're coming up to, like I said, 22 laps to go? This race is definitely counting down very, very quickly. What are these guys going to be able to do? Of course, George Young as well, I do believe, only took 2 tires. And there goes the pace car down pit road.
Brian, if this race goes green to the end, whoever gets out of this jam first, I think will win it.
100%. There's the green flag, and looks like no wheel spin. So good start there. But look at that. Already Craig Ganzak.
Oh,
3 wide on the top.
I thought for a moment Young was going to take. Oh, Evans, here we go.
Well, that is actually Johnny Evans, not Forsythe.
Prince is in it.
Oh, no.
Dominant truck of the day involved. You've got Harris. Oh, my goodness.
And he gets hit again there. And, of course, you saw George Young actually flip over onto his roof. What an accident that was. Heartbreaker.
This is the fear. This is the fear I had here, Brian, with 2 guys on the front row. And the driver in third, George Young, takes out the leader. And I'm sorry, not George Young. Believe that was
Johnny Evans.
Caleb Forsythe. No, Caleb Forsythe hooks Johnny Evans, and just too much right wheel into it.
Oh.
And there's the luck that George Young took.
Yeah, flipped that race car over, unfortunately. Man, what an accident there, and unfortunate for Justin Prince. I think he had the car to beat here tonight, unfortunately, and it looks like I did hear the sound that is indicative of someone blowing a motor. Wondering who that was. Might have been George Young.
Well, luckily for guys like James Harris and Justin Prince, they have a quick repair that they can use in this series. There's the onboard with Caleb Forsythe, and that's just unfortunate. Thank you, Neelan, for the follow. We appreciate it.
100%. Man, what an accident there.
And look who got the race lead out of all of us. We haven't talked about this yet, Brian. Craig Yansak goes to the point.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and it was because of that amazing move he had on the restart. I mean, he took him 3 wide literally immediately, and because he had the new tires, he had the maneuverability to make that work. And just like you said, you even said it, Marty, that whoever makes it through that stack up is going to be the one that possibly wins this race. And look at this move here from Yanzak, 3 wide on the top, and this is what saved his life essentially. Look at the hits there. Wow.
Yeah, that's Justin there. That's the second hit he takes. Thought there was a third one right there in front of Lorenz. Nope, there's the fourth. So 4 licks that JP took.
Yeah, and that was Steven Gibson who did that last one there. Unfortunately, that's got to be a heartbreaker there for Prince. I mean, after leading so much of this race. But hey, the show must go on. Like you said, at least he has a faster pair, but it looks like he is now scored a lap down. So that means 13 drivers remain on the lead lap. Do a quick rundown through the top 10 here. Craig Ganzak in the lead. Steven Shepard in second. Kyle Holden sits in third. Robert Lawrence is in fourth. Brian Lorenzo fifth. John Lacido sits in sixth. Stephen Gibson in seventh. Johnny Evans is in eighth. Brandon Ball in ninth. And, of course, rounding out our top 10 is James Ifa.
11th is Caleb Forsythe. 12th is James Ifa. 12th, William Mann Jr. 13th, James Harris. 14th, Justin Prince. 15th, George Young. Now, I'm very surprised that Prince and Young are in the pits for a while. Something tells me that Prince probably forgot to uncheck the quick repair mark at his first pit stop.
Oh, no, yeah. If you even touch that wall at all, that could be a deal breaker. If you touch the wall just a hair and you come down for a pit stop and just a hair of damage, it'll still use that quick repair. And when you have that catastrophic damage, it's not there for you anymore. It's just
even when you come into pit road, you have to make sure that's unchecked. You got to double check everything.
100%. Just same thing when it comes to fuel. I know a lot of times I've been running a lot of officials lately, and that auto fuel kind of gets me a lot of times. I mean, you have to pay attention to that stuff. But while we have a moment here, I do believe pace car lights have gone out, but I do want to shout out another one of our partners here at Grid Vision. Of course, Team Watson Racing Setups. Team Watson offers out-of-the-box fast setups that are proven to win no matter what split you're competing in and are trusted by many top low-level oval racers. If you're looking to take your iRacing career to the next level, check out TeamWatsonRacing.com. And what a race we have had thus far. Of course, Craig Ganzak with a bold move on that last restart now is in control of the field. We talked about it earlier. Robbie Keneally missing this race. This could be what Craig Ganzak needs to possibly have a chance at Vegas. And Vegas, like, we know Keneally is a short track guru. Vegas is not a short track.
Absolutely. Vegas is not a short track one bit. Now, the thing is with the Ganzak, Steven Shepard next to him, but he took 2 tires. And then you got Kyle Holden in third, who we've yet to talk about in contention for the lead today. I'm interested in seeing how he does on this restart.
100%. I mean, he's definitely been a quick driver, has gotten a lot of good finishes. I do believe 3rd place last week, if I'm not mistaken. Possibly even 2nd. I know he was a top 3 contender, but green flag is back out in the air. Craig Ganzak takes off. Side by side for 2nd place. Steven Shepard caught sleeping a little bit there. Could that have been because of the 2 tires? Looks like Kyle Holden moves up to that 2nd position, and Brian Lorenzo now moves up to the podium.
Look at the gap Ganzak's already put up. A half second off of turn number 2. That's unbelievable. And you see Lorenz tries underneath Steven Shepard. Shallow entry. I don't think it's going to work.
Of course, never count out that 5 machine of Robert Lawrence. As you see, also John Lucido. Of course, he has had a kind of a quiet day, but he's now running up in that 6th place position. But here comes Shepard. I mean, I think Shepard, once he gets those other tires kind of up to temperature, he might be dangerous here.
Absolutely. But you got to give credit to Brian Lorenzo. Can you believe that we talked about him in the first half of the race with a beaten-up race car, scrapes all over the right side of that truck, and he's in 3rd position? I didn't think I'd be seeing that tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely a shock. But then again, I mean, Brian Lorenzo is also another driver that you really can't count out. I mean, he's had some really good finishes this season, and right now he sits in 3rd, getting really close to that yellow line. I'll tell you what, these guys got to be really careful. Do not put any tires down there on that apron, I'll tell you that.
Nah, you don't want to touch the apron one bit with this banking. If you hit the apron, that truck's going to freak out, and likely you're going around.
Look at this. John Lucido entering the top 5, able to somehow secure that spot over Lawrence, and it looks like Steven Gibson's going to enter the picture as well. So battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th underway right now. This is where the battling is taking place on the racetrack. Gibson now side by side with the 5.
Absolutely. This is the best battle we're watching on the racetrack. Surprised we're not seeing Lawrence right now in that top 4, top 3, with him having a good race car. Something tells me here, though, and I don't think this is the right decision, he's saving tires. With 14 laps to go, coming to 13 at the line, you don't want to be saving tires. I think it's time to go to work. And you see the move on Lucido. That's a tough move to make below the apron at the start-finish line.
Yeah, it's very dangerous to go down there on that apron on the front stretch, but he was able to do it successfully. That just shows the experience that 5 machine has, but he has to get by Lucido here and move up into the top 5 in order to even have a shot at possibly getting up to the 13. Of course, Craig Ganzak not getting away by much, though. Kyle Holden is right on his bumper.
Yeah, it's a great race for the lead. It's down to 800. Holden may look to the inside. He's all over that spoiler. He got the rear wheels off the ground. Just let him know, hey, buddy, I'm here.
Yeah, he is definitely putting some pressure on Ganzak, and that's what you got to do with a track like this. You got to make him run faster than he wants to go, and I think that's what Kyle Holden's trying to do here.
Oh, yes, absolutely, without a question. Holden, I think if he feels like he's got a faster race car than Ganzak, I would just be patient at the moment. He's got a lot of time to work up on that spoiler, but at the same time, that 77's closing in for the lead.
He definitely is, but one thing about it, like you just said, wait for him to make a mistake. Be in his rear view. We've already seen Craig Ganzak kind of drive through the mirror already a little bit today, and if he's doing that, he's not focusing on his marks. But here comes the 77. You called it perfectly there. We also do see John Lucido has caught up to Shepard.
So many battles on the racetrack in the final laps. You mentioned that race for 4th. Here we go. This is about to be good.
100%. There goes Lucido underneath the 13. Of course, 13 on 2 tires. Somehow he has managed to hang on, but for how much longer as he goes way up the track? I think he's tight.
Yeah, Shepard really tight, but got a great exit off of turn 2, though, with slight bacon. He tries to block. Oh, my. And Lucido set it deep in turn 3.
Those guys were one truck there for a minute. I'll tell you what, but somehow they managed to keep it together as we're now coming up to I do believe 9 laps to go here in this race, and what a race it has been. They're still side by side. I wouldn't be surprised if this is possibly where our next caution comes from, just considering. I mean, these guys are racing like they're racing for the lead right now, and it's the last lap.
Seems like that's waiting to happen indeed, Brian. I'm checking out the race late here, too. You know, Holden lost just a little bit of time on Yancek, but he's still up there, though. 1.5 truck lengths, and that's Gibson, or excuse me, Shepard up in the wall.
Yeah, Shepard up into the outside wall. Now going to have Stephen Gibson all right there behind him. Robert Lawrence gets a little bit tight on the 13. But it looks like I think they're going to be fine. Yeah, Shepard's definitely in trouble. 3 wide, version on 3 wide at least.
And how about Brandon Ball? How about Brandon Ball in the 17, too? He had a tough start to this one. He's an 8th. He could be racing for 4th in all this at the end.
He definitely could be. And look, a little bit of contact there between him and the 13. But
Look
Ball started out a little bit scary here tonight. But I mean, this track is one that, you know, the more time you have with it, the better you'll get at it.
Look at James Efaw, too, in the 9th position. He could be racing for 4th. He was involved in 2 incidents tonight.
That he was.
Where in the world did he come from?
Redemption, man. I mean, these guys have had some time to get used to the truck. I mean,
look back at this race late here, though. Holden all over Yancek spoiler with 6 laps to go. I think it's time for him to make his move. Oh, boy! Yellow on the track.
Stephen Gibson definitely involved slow on the high side here. James Efall as well.
Oh, that's a tough break. He was making a great comeback. And when you look at this off of turn number 4, a lot similar to what Efaw dealt with in the first yellow. And he was involved with, I believe it was Forsyth.
That was
clear.
Shepard.
Yeah, and then there's some net code at the end. That just barely forces Shepard to clip that outside wall. Now this gets interesting because we now had, I believe, we'll head into overtime. If not, we'll have a 2-lap shootout at least.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point for sure. And I think everyone, for the most part, is out of tires. I know some drivers did take 2. But if you have a set left right now,
you're not taking a set one bet. This is a track position track, Brian. You're staying right where you are without question.
I mean, I have to be devil's advocate a little bit here. If you have
I can understand, yes.
I feel like if you have a set left, I mean, you're going to be much faster than a lot of these other drivers. I mean, we saw it earlier, it was a 2.5 seconds. I don't think it'll be quite that drastic, but still, I mean, it's going to be hard to pass. I think that's what you're kind of alluding to. But if you catch the right sort of luck, it could work out for you. I can't wait to see what we're going to see here. I think this is going to be an exciting conclusion.
Harris and Mann are both pitting. I feel like if they pit, I think they're going to have just maybe 2 right side tires left, if not 2 left side tires. I don't know. But at this point late in the race, I would take 2.
Yeah, if you still have those 2 left, I mean, you might as well. I mean, it's better than nothing, right?
Oh, absolutely. Completely better than nothing.
Well, while we have a second here under our yellow flag, we'll shout out one of our last partners here with Grid Vision. Of course, simsearch.com. Are you an iRacing setup builder wanting to make a little extra money off your building? Do you have an old wheel or pedal sitting in your closet? Maybe you have you want to offer iRacing painting services. SimSearch.com is a virtual flea market that is specifically tailored to sim enthusiasts. Check them out today at SimSearch.com. And man, we have a heck of a finish going to be lined up for us here, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you tuning in to Grid Vision. This is our debut broadcast, and I'm telling you, I don't think it could have gotten better than this, Marty, for a debut.
Perfect way to end this race. I'm excited for it. It's going to be crazy what it's going to be like in the final laps. Holden's going to have to time this restart perfectly. If not, Lorenzo's going to have a big chance at it.
100%. I think Holden has got a really good big chance here. But then again, I mean, we've seen all race long that driver that is in control of the restart seems to, have a significant advantage. And if these guys only have 2 laps to finish this race, I mean, if Craig can mash the gas on this restart and really catch these guys off guard, I think he's in prime position. Definitely can't wait to see if Kyle can rise to the occasion, and maybe Brian Lorenzo, though. I mean, it really all depends on, that turn one. Does Craig, get a good start, but then maybe make a mistake? It's so easy to make a mistake at this track, especially when you have cautions that break up the rhythm. I think this is definitely a rhythm racetrack.
It really is. If I'm Yansak here, you have to have the restart of your life.
100%. And this win would go so far into, closing that gap between him and Robbie Keneally. Of course, we talked about the end of this championship coming next week at Las Vegas. Of course, not a lot of time, I do believe, between the turnaround for the next season here with Champion. These guys, they don't quit. They don't have a whole lot of time off, so can't wait to see what the next season looks like. Tell you what, these guys deliver every race, and man, I do believe we're actually going to have a 3-week road series as well, so that'll be interesting, of course, to call some road racing. Of course, I don't get the chance to do that a whole lot. Pace car lights are out. We're getting ready to, I do believe, get them going here for, I do believe, our first green-white checkered. And I'm curious. I think we might have possibly another one on the docket. We'll have to wait and see. Do believe we have extended the laps here. Of course, this race was scheduled for 75 laps. We are now going to be going to, I do believe, 76. So Craig Ganzak, can he make it happen? Do these guys make it to the white flag is the question. Does anybody have any wheel spin? It's also going to be the question. Does Craig Ganzak goose it a little too hard and spin those tires?
This is the first of 2 attempts at the green-white checkered here. Crunch time for the drivers. 2-lap shootout. Let's see how Yansak has. I think he's going to have the restart of his life here.
We're getting ready to see here as the green flag flies once again. That was a relatively tame restart from Yanzak. Did not get the launch he did before.
But that still caught Kyle Holden sleeping, and it could give Brian Lorenzo a chance if he can close it right now, but I don't think he'll be able to. He is caught behind Kyle Holden and John Lucido. Cannot be thinking of that rearview mirror right now. Has to be focused on the road ahead.
100%. And Craig Ganzak goes through 3 and 4, I do believe, for the second to final time. I think we're going to get the white flag possibly here.
He will.
And there, that looks like Robert Lawrence gets towed right before the white flag came out. We will double him up and do it again.
Holy.
And look at that.
This was
upside down.
I thought this was racing, not gymnastics, Robert.
And he is stuck. There is nothing he can do except for take a tow. Heartbreaker for Robert Lawrence, who started on the pole in this race. Take a replay back.
Okay, this is going to be one of the wildest. It's been known for wild rides in the past, but watch this one.
Wow. I think Robert Lawrence just joined the iRacing NASA squad there.
May need to put that in the not top 10.
100%. As we take a gyro camera here, please have the bag ready.
Yes, have the bag ready.
Whoa!
Holy moly!
I'll tell you, he did. That's probably a 720.
No, that's more than a 720. I gotta see how many rotations that was. I'm gonna count right now.
We're gonna take slow-mo here, so.
Alrighty.
Love that we're able to take that slow-mo and really dissect these
1,
incidents.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5. So he did a 23:40.
Wow. Tony Hawk, eat your heart out.
Yes, take that, Tony Hawk.
I'm telling you, 10 out of 10. If he had stuck the landing, it would have been a perfect. I'd say more like 9.5.
Well, hey, I'll tell you this. We enjoyed it for our coverage, but I think the only man that did not enjoy seeing that was Craig Yansak. The white was ready. and then boom goes the checkered flag.
You know someone
Oh, the
else
yellow
who
flag,
didn't
I'm
enjoy
sorry.
it? Robert Lawrence. I don't think he enjoyed it either.
Yeah, probably two guys did not enjoy it.
100%. And, man, that was a wow. I mean, especially starting from the pole, and he's been a top 5 driver all night long. That's just about as heartbreaking as Justin Prince's crash. Of course, we get set for, I do believe, green, white, checkered attempt number 2 here. Craig Gansack has another shot at it, though, and him being the control car, if he could just nail this restart, I think he'll be in good shape. But I'll tell you what, the man to truly watch is Brian Lorenzo. And another one to watch is John Lucido. I mean, where did this guy come from? This guy was running outside the top 10, on the edge of the top 10 all race long, and now he's up in 3rd.
Yeah, started in the 13th position. Great night for him, absolutely. Out of nowhere, trying to make the Pontiac fans proud for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely doing that for sure right now in that Trans Am machine. Have to see if he can get one better. Maybe he'll get a chance to talk to us. And I wish we had a chance to talk to some of these other guys. That, of course, Robert Lawrence. What did that feel like flying through the air like that? Hope you're not in VR.
Let's see here. Should we bring him in for the heck of it? He's
yeah,
in the
let's
chat.
talk to him. Let's
bring him in. We want to know. Robert, you got a copy? It's Marty and Brian.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what did that feel? What did that flip feel like? We just want to know for the heck of it.
I don't know, just flipping through the air, and I didn't know where my head went. So
we can confirm you did 6.5 flips at 23:40.
I did something like that. I lost count.
Tony Hawk, eat your heart out, man.
Yes.
You didn't stick the landing as good as you could have, so points deducted for that. So a 9.5 out of 10 there. But great job to you there, Robert. I know it's probably heartbreaking for you, but I mean, still, I mean, you had a heck of a race. You were a top 3 car. Does that hurt your heart at all?
I mean, it sucks, but at the same time, we're having a blast out here. It was, for a long time, it was side by side, wide open as much as we could, and it was just chaos. Hopefully it was as fun to watch as it was to drive.
100%. Well, we're getting ready to go back green. Can we get a quick shout out from you, and we'll let you get back to it?
Shout out to Champion Power Equipment. Thank you for everything you guys do.
All right, thanks, Robert. Green flag getting ready to come back out once again as the pace car has taken a left turn down pit road, and we're going to go green flag, I do believe, for the final time here. And Craig Gansack, another not as great restart as he possibly needed. Lorenzo keeping pace here.
Lorenzo's got a chance here. Much better restart this time. I think Jantek, in my opinion, had a worse restart, but I think Jantek rebounded a little bit in 1 and 2. Much better corner than the 77.
Yeah, he definitely did. Looks like he maybe sacrificed the restart in order for his entry. We do see a lot of battling further back, 3 wide in the mid-pack. But, of course, we want to focus up here on the front here. White flag is out on the speedway as Craig Gansack takes his final time through 1 and 2. You also see Lucido trying to work his way up to Holden, who has taken over 3rd from him. But here we go. Final time through 3 and 4. Craig Gansack. Here comes Lorenzo. To the inside. Is going to send it.
Look at that. Look at this. Holden's got something.
Oh, this is going to be a close one. And it looks like, I do believe, Brian Lorenzo is going to win this race.
They're all wrecking everywhere. They've gone crazy.
Wow. That was quite the finish. As we're going to probably have to dissect that one.
He just completely sent it into turn number 3. There was a gap. He took it. I don't know what led to Jantek going too high. I had a feeling he was that the bumper was coming. Lorenzo decided to send it. I thought here that Holden was going to win it without question. I thought those two were going around. How they saved it, I don't know.
Goodness, they were 5 wide going across the line there in the mid-pack.
That's why I said they were going crazy across the line. It was wild.
Oh, my goodness. What a finish as you see Lorenzo just sends it Kyle Holden also just throws caution to the wind and sends it as well. And almost, I think he pushed Lorenzo across the line in a lot of ways. Look at that. 5 wide with Brandon Ball. Wow.
That's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And Brian Lorenzo wins this race. Truck does not look like he won this race, but he did. Now, we usually, of course, would have a winning moment here. But, of course, that does leave the opening for possibly if you have a business that would like to take that spot. We definitely would love to shout you out as these guys are making these huge moments in their racing careers. So definitely reach out to us on Facebook or Twitter possibly, and we'll definitely talk to you and see what we can, any kind of packages we can come up with for sponsors. But what a race from Brian Lorenzo. I think now is the time we'll go ahead and run through the official running order here. Brian Lorenzo with a nail-biting win there. Kyle Holden, of course, second place. Craig Ganzak finishes in third. John Lucido finishes fourth. Stephen Shepard in fifth. Brandon Ball in sixth. Stephen Gibson in seventh. James Harris in eighth. Johnny Evans in ninth. And, of course, 10th, George Young.
11th belongs to James Efaw, 12th William Mann Jr. Tough break for Justin Prince, who was the dominant car of the day in 13th. Robert Lawrence 14th, Caleb Forsyth 15th, and Robbie Keneally did not start this race in 16th. One more thing here, Brian. How many laps did Lorenzo lead tonight?
1.
Yes, you got it. I had a feeling you were going to answer that correctly after I asked you the same question on Sunday.
All right. Yeah, that is actually funny that Sunday we had something similar. But, of course, we're going to go ahead and get into our post-race show here. We got Brian Lorenzo, our winner here tonight. Of course, what a race, man. You only led 1 lap, and it came from a bold move. You sent it into turn 3 and 4, and somehow it worked out for you. I mean, what was going through your mind there?
It's the end of the season. You got to go for it. It was either completely overshoot the corner or make an amazing pass to get that win. But
we somehow worked for you.
Yeah, once we got under him, I just knew I got the position on the bottom. He tried arcing the corner. He pretty much gave me the inside, and once we got to the bottom, I was just like, okay, well, you're already up there. You're not coming down anymore. And we pretty much forced him to run the third line here, which is dead man's land up there. I almost got turned out of turn 4 too. It was just crazy move, man.
Yeah, for sure. You had Kyle Holden coming up to your rear end and gave you a pretty significant bump as well. I mean, I know for the most part today you were kind of a mid-pack car. You know, what was the key, do you think, to getting up there and being in contention?
Just adapting. The first run, it was getting used to the car, and we really struggled with the tightness of the car. Like, I ended up hitting the wall twice really early in the run, and that's why we were pretty much mid-pack for most of the race. But once the caution came out, I cooled down, rethought of how to run the line, started arcing the corners better, and we started becoming a better long-run car. And even if I didn't get this overtime, I'm pretty confident I could have got Craig regardless if it had just gone green in the first place.
Well, you've definitely had a tremendous season. I think with this win, this actually puts you up to tied for 4th with Justin Prince. So awesome job here at Nashville. I mean, what do you think of this track? I mean, it seems very difficult. Can you tell us a little bit how difficult it was?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those polarizing tracks in NASCAR, just because this track it doesn't drive difficult because it's one lane, but it's such a competitive track because everyone's so even, and the dirty air creates a lot of pack racing. So just getting out in front and getting that clean air is very important. Like you saw Justin earlier in the race, he started pulling out by like almost 2 seconds, but because he burned his tires, everybody started gaining on him, and you had like a bunch of small packs throughout the race. And yeah, it was just about tire management tonight, pretty much.
It definitely seemed like it. Of course, next week's going to be Las Vegas. Not going to be too much, not as much about tire management. How do you feel about your chances there?
It's gonna be a big show. I think it's one of my better tracks. I think we'll be up front, especially because it's gonna be a long run track, and that's what we're good at. Um, it's gonna be a wild one though. The first 15 laps of a run is basically Talladega with these trucks there, so it's gonna be a blast.
100%. Well, after this big win here at Nashville Superspeedway, who can we give a shout out to, Brian?
First of all, Champion Power Equipment for sponsoring the series and letting us race in the first place. I've had a lot of fun this season, and I'm glad to hear that they are coming back next season to sponsor us again. And let's thank 4 O'Clock Media again for sponsoring the car and sponsoring everything I do racing-wise. Also, Pierce Graphics, which is the secondary sponsor of the car. Happy to see them both being repped out in this league. And last, I'd like to thank you guys, man, for coming out here and even though it's late, putting on a show for us. Thank you to all you guys.
All right. Well, thanks for putting on a good show for us. You made it easy with that kind of move there at the end. Thanks for your time, Brian, and we'll talk to you hopefully next week.
Thanks, man. See ya.
Of course, that was Brian Lorenzo. Next up, we're going to be talking to Kyle Holden. And Marty is standing by with our second place finisher.
Kyle, when you're watching Brian and Craig go up the track in turn 4, what are you thinking inside the cockpit? Did you think you were going to win it?
I did at first, and then the truck was just so tight there because I tried really getting a real good run out of it, so I sent it in real hard, and I didn't realize that that they were going to run each other up the track. If they hadn't done that, I would have been fine. But since they ran each other up the track, it kind of ruined a little bit of my space there, so I had to kind of let off to try not get into Brian too much so that we didn't wreck ourselves there. But if we didn't touch Brian, we would have taken that home.
You had a great race as a whole. I know you started in the 3rd position, faded a little bit early on in that long run, but then you were able to make a recovery. If that yellow did not come out, that sent us into overtime. What were you planning to do against Craig? Were you just being patient, waiting to make your move?
Yeah, it's his birthday today, so happy birthday, Craig. It's just I was trying to give him as much room as possible, leave it up to the last couple of laps, so that way Brian couldn't make his move around us there at the end if it stayed green. But unfortunately, it ended up staying green. I was trying to just push Craig around as much as possible, get into his head a little bit, but didn't end up going that way, so we ended up having to deal with a couple cautions. And for some reason on these restarts, the outside seems to work really well with fresh tires, and I just kept on getting taken advantage of there.
Well, it was a great run for you. Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Huge thanks to you guys in the booth, Grid Vision. Glad to see you guys with a new brand. Can't wait to watch it and see what it looks like tonight. Huge thanks to Team Watson Racing for always being there for me, giving us great setups. Always head over there to get the best setups out there. Huge thanks to Martin Sports, Main and Tail, Straight Arrow, all of them for being sponsors and being on the car.
All right, man. I'll let you go. Great job tonight.
Appreciate it.
Kyle Holden, our 2nd place finisher. Brian, I believe you have Craig.
I do. Our 3rd place finisher, Craig Ganzak. You were in the perfect position there at the end to possibly get the win, but you saw a huge move from Brian Lorenzo, a full send move there from him. Walk us through that. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely did something. If the part for me that I don't like is that I wasn't aware of it. As in to say, I didn't even see it coming. I heard the car inside. I was like, oh, that's new. And then I was being shoved up the track. So not that he did anything wrong. You do what you can to win these races. Had I seen it coming at all, the easy thing to do to get away with those, evade losing to those moves is just stab the brake, let him clear himself, and go firewall deep. But we didn't see that coming, so that's on me, and I have nobody to blame but myself. And then I tried the door slam before he loaded to turn down in the corner, and if he loaded to turn down, then I would have done what I wanted to do, which was get him all wonky instead of get myself wonky. So I was 0 for 2 tonight. It really stinks. Definitely had the Road Ranger F-150 that deserved the win, but we'll move on from that and accept a good points night with Keneally only being able to start in park. We gained 13 points on him, so we should have, if my quick on the spot math is any good, we should, if we beat Keneally by 10, I think, next week by some odd chance, we can still get a championship, and that's where our focus goes here.
100%. Of course, you are the reigning champion at the moment, so it's got to be important to maximize the points here tonight. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that, but of course, you were in prime position. I mean, if the cautions had fallen the way they kind of did, if maybe we didn't have that second green-white checkered, you probably would have been in victory lane. And also, you actually put yourself in prime position with that 3-wide move as well when those two drivers had stayed out on old tires. Do you feel like that was kind of the move of the race?
I was hoping it was going to be the move of the race, because it was, the fresh tires fire off so good on restarts, and those of us that are capable of restarting in first gear here obtain such a better bite and have so much more run. I thought Evans was underpowered. I thought he had maybe a little bit too much damage. I thought he was underpowered going into one. He said no, he had 1180 RPMs, and we just had such a better launch because we gripped it in first gear and at the restart, and we're just hauling. So I didn't even want to be 3 top there because I know the top at Nashville doesn't always work. I knew we were going to have a good run down the backstretch, but I figured we were going to lose too much in 1 and 2. I figured it was going to kind of balance out in the end. And then I saw Evans door number in my mirror, which is obviously not a good thing you want to see.
Yeah.
And then I saw everybody get collected in that. Prince got killed in that, and that definitely took out the other main competitor here tonight. He was real fast. So hey, it stinks. I don't have anybody to blame but myself, though. Alonso made a send that not everyone would feel comfortable making, and I didn't react to it appropriately, and therefore I handed him a win. So it is what it is, man.
100%. And I got to say, a little disappointed that we didn't get to see you and Prince kind of duke it out, because I felt like you guys definitely have a little bit of unfinished business out on the racetrack. And I know you guys, you put on a show week in and week out, but definitely unfortunate that you weren't able to maximize it this week, Craig. And still an awesome job nonetheless. I mean, can't wait to see what you do at Vegas. I know that, Keneally's always been really good at these short tracks, but I think that Vegas, you're going to have a really good shot at it.
Yeah, for sure, and as will just about everybody, as many of the in the know people are familiar, the current package at Vegas is basically a restrictor plate race. So, you do a little bit of conservation here and there when you can to make sure you have a right front by lap 30, but it's pretty much a restrictor plate race. We should be pretty packed up for the entirety of the run, and at least up front for sure. So, anything could happen, man. It takes one apron hit. At Vegas, it's such a sharp transition from track to apron. Those aprons kill you, and if you hit the bumps wrong in once, send up the track. I mean, you could go from the lead to 6th, and by the time you enter turn 3. So anything could happen next week, and hopefully, unfortunately, with my one of my best buddies, Robbie Lawrence, having a couple of misfortunes tonight, I did build up about a 7-point buffer on him positionally as well. So it gives me a little bit of leeway to try some odd stuff, and if we got to try something odd to try to bring home another chip, then that's what we're gonna do.
All right, well, definitely thanks for that insight, Craig, and good luck next week at Vegas. We'll definitely be watching and waiting to see what you're going to pull out for sure. Who can give a shout out to after that third place finish and leading some laps out here tonight, Craig?
Yeah, massive shout out to Champion Power Equipment, Blackstone Management Partners, Kevin Kirscher, Road Ranger for being on the truck for this season. We're supposed to do a country music theme tonight, and between Road to Pro Prep and today's actually my birthday, conveniently. So I had a lot going on. Thank you. Had a lot going on, so I didn't get to make a paint. So just quick shout out to Nick D, one of my favorite artists. Not country related, but I'm not a country music guy, so I was just going to make a truck to dedicate to Nick D, and weren't able to do that. But, give him a shout out there too. You guys, Grid Vision, welcome to the broadcasting spectrum. I think you have a great finish to begin your advertisement with, for sure. And
yeah,
it's really good. It's really good to see the same group of guys that already have good charisma with each other, carry on their success as well. So looking really forward to working with you guys and wishing you continued success as you guys continue down your road here.
Tell you what, you just put a really great idea in my mind. For sure, we're going to take that 5 wide. I mean, they were 5 wide. You might not have seen it behind you, but they were 5 wide coming across that start-finish line. But thanks for your time, Craig, and we'll definitely add that to the highlight reel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Glad I can give you a good idea. Hope you have a good one.
All right, you as well. Of course, that was Craig Ganzak, our third-place finisher, and so far he is the only man that has has a chance possibly to dethrone Robbie Keneally, Marty.
Absolutely, could possibly with a great third place finish. We don't have the points updated yet, but next week when we come on, and everything will be fully updated. So look forward to seeing how they look.
Yeah, 100%. Of course, we do have an unofficial points right now, and of course, Craig Ganzak is separated by, I do believe, only 9 points on Robbie Keneally at the moment. So we'll have to see how that all kind of turns out. But I'm looking forward to Vegas. I mean, it's going to be kind of a super speedway style race, but I think tires are going to matter a lot more than these guys are giving it credit for sure. But with that, I think it is time for us to draw to the conclusion. And we definitely appreciate everybody tuning in here for the debut of Grid Vision. I'm telling you, we just had a ball, and I really do want to take that and make that into a highlight. It's 5 wide at Nashville Superspeedway. You can't make that kind of stuff up. But with that, of course, we will conclude our first and, of course, many more broadcasts here. Of course, on behalf of Justin Levine, Taylor Burris, of course, our producer, Austin Derbyshire. Of course, I do want to thank you as well, Marty, for co-hosting with me here tonight. I am Brian Britt. I can't even say my own last name. Thank you for listening to the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series on Grid Vision. We'll see you next time.